Hey guys,
Hey there.
Howdy.
how's it going?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. How about you? Stay busy?
Like always.
Like always. Great to hear that.
Yeah, and especially after yesterday's OpenAI Dev Day, a lot of exciting updates, not only for us but just the entire AI industry. So very exciting.
Yeah, excited to hear that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how many people show up today. We had a fair amount of people register, but um how's everything going with you guys? Any new revelations or anything?
Nah, not for me, unfortunately.
No.
Still figuring out the outreach thing and yeah.
Yeah. Once we get
So,
the calendar scheduling, we're going to be deploying it to certain accounts later today. So that will be released to most probably everyone else by the end of the week. And I think that's going to be the big kicker for so many people.
oh yeah.
I know I've been saying that for a few weeks now, but
Yeah, but that's it is what it is, right?
yeah. And we didn't want to release something that wasn't like good or didn't work at all. So like one of the things was trying to figure out how to make it so that way the translation of time zones wouldn't be affected in a negative manner. Um, we ended up having to just kind of program in there a question to ask the user like, what is your time zone, and then do a calculation or a translation so that way it knows that's the current um, time zone basically. So
And the question would be asked in conversation for every all right. Would it work with cities or stuff like that?
what do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't tell it your time zone specially, but you'd tell the city you're in. Because
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm doing my pilot's license, like I'm supposed to know time zones pretty well, but it gets yeah it gets tangled up pretty quick, and
Mhm.
especially like even today I signed up I logged in for the meeting an hour ago because we have summertime here in Europe, so we're an hour forward on top of the 6 or 9 hours um that it is. So yeah, it gets really mixed up sometimes.
And we just had our time savings, so yeah, that makes yeah, yeah. So trying to have an AI bot understand all of that has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
kind of fun, but we've got it
And
to a point where we're pretty confident in it, so we're going to be releasing it to certain accounts for you guys to help us basically break it.
That's really
yeah,
cool.
and to be fair, for this exact issue you just described, we it does seem to be able to handle converting from a location to a time zone. But if not, we can always create a function for it to give it that capability more reliably. So
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
think that's a pretty interesting way to enter that because yeah, I don't really see most people typing in their time zones, and if they have to look for it, yeah, it makes it.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, so weirdly, I've scheduled a lot of appointments via text just because of something else for a position I used to have where we didn't have like a scheduling. Anyway, regardless, I've done it via text a lot, and it is common actually to have to like literally specify your time zone because if someone says to me, for example, I'm in Spain, like as an American, or maybe this is an American thing, but I have like no idea. I don't know what time zone that is. So it can help sometimes if you specify the time zone that I can go into like Time Buddy and look it up. And but yeah, to your point, I mean, sometimes the area or city you're in is better to say.
Yeah. So that being said, I'll show you guys kind of the next iteration or update of it. So similarly to last week, you have the control over the different days of the week, and this is where you would select your time zone for your calendar, and that is what it would do the calculation or translation to. Appointment duration, that's pretty self-explanatory. That will just set the different appointment duration slots. And then the base system prompt for scheduling currently is able to be edited in this view. However, because the scheduling prompt is so particular, what we'll be doing is some variation of limiting everyone's ability to edit this, because if you do edit this in basically in any way, it breaks and doesn't work. And so what we're thinking is what we'll do is we're going to have like a triple opt-in or like some sort of verification where we're going to ask, like, are you absolutely sure you want to be able to edit this? And then if so, then we will allow you to edit it. But for most of the use cases, when somebody will have scheduling enabled, it will be done in the process of the user comes to the chatbot, they ask a question. It then potentially could ask the lead generation questions. Then it could answer their questions if they want more information. Then if they're interested in booking, it'll ask if they're interested in booking a meeting. If they say yes, then it will go through the process of when are you available, what's your time zone, confirm your email, schedule the appointment. So it's one of those features that we've been really just making sure that it's solid basically before we get it out there, but it's certainly getting there. So
yeah, it looks amazing. Like the interface for it looks pretty great, and yeah, looking forward to playing with it a little bit.
appreciate it. Hey, Graham.
Hi there. Sorry I'm a bit late.
No worries. Just giving the quick little update on some of the appointment scheduling features. We've figured out the big update is we basically figured out and completed the time zone translation issue. So now users are able to get a meeting scheduled in their native time zone in relation to the time zone that is selected by the agency in the settings view right here.
Brilliant.
And then we will be also, so I was just explaining to Lucas that the base system prompt for scheduling is going to be semi-restricted. And that's because it's very finicky. It's very particular in the way that it needs to be written. So what we'll be doing is we'll probably be graying this out, and then there'll be a button that says like edit. And then if you click it, it'll have a little pop-up that's like, are you sure you want to edit this?
Mm-hmm.
Like type confirm or something like that, just to be sure. So that way, we're warning, everyone. That might be, Tim, maybe that's something that we could even allow agency owners to enable. Like, even if we want them to like have that as a thing for sub accounts, like, do you even want we could allow agencies to do it, but not sub accounts.
Yeah, let's allow agencies and not sub accounts.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
For now, and we can always make changes if you all find another use case.
Yeah. Yeah. So this will be out to certain users. There's going to be a code that we give out in the agency chat in Discord. So later today, everyone that's in there will be able to start playing around with scheduling themselves, which will be cool.
Yeah, amazing.
So Graham, did you see any of the OpenAI updates yesterday?
Not really. No, I was otherwise engaged.
Gotcha. Alex, Lucas, what about you guys? Did you guys see or hear anything about that stuff yet?
I
Just
did.
from your Discord
Okay.
posts and the little rundown of the features, yeah, that you had up there.
Alex.
Oh, sorry, mic's playing up. Yes, I watched it.
Nice.
Pretty some pretty mad stuff. It was really what they call it, the GBT or GPT bots or whatever are
Yeah.
pretty I mean mad looking. That's going to become I suppose essentially similar to what you look at, like a marketplace kind of thing of like predefined scripts and, well, not scripts as such, but these predefined bots.
Yep.
Looks really interesting. And then, yeah, from the limited understanding I have on it, a lot of that, the API calling and stuff, looked pretty cool as well. And the price.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so perfect segue. So the price. So we will be adding the GPT-4 Turbo model in the next week or two, however fast we can get that added essentially. And it will be half the price of GPT-4. So we're ballparking it. It's going to be probably 12 to 15 credits per response for Turbo. And then everything else will basically just stay the same. So that'll be a nice, 50% bump for everybody. And then in terms of, there's a couple thoughts. Tim and I have been talking about this, but I think, it's interesting just kind of to bring it to the table for everyone to have in their back of their mind when they start talking to their clients about all this stuff. Like, why, how is your AI, agency or software better than, like, can't I just make a GPT, And so the way that, like, I'm kind of looking through all of this is ChatGPT and OpenAI have two sides to them, similarly to how Apple has kind of two sides to them within the frame or context of the App Store. So the App Store, there are users and consumers like all of us that have all these different apps on our phone, and we go to the App Store to download those apps and use those apps on our phone. And those stay on our phone and they don't go anywhere else. And I think that's kind of similar to how this is going to play out with ChatGPT and their GPT marketplace. It's going to be very targeted to consumers, and they have to be used on their platform in order to be utilized fully. So in the examples that they gave in the keynote were, I think, Canva and Zapier, but they were all within the ChatGPT platform. They weren't other places. And so I think this gives a lot of question. It's like, all right, well, that's great for consumers, but what about businesses? Wouldn't it be great if there was a marketplace for businesses to go and get these bots and be able to integrate them not on ChatGPT, but into their business? Like, that's kind of, I think, where we're starting to see the power of the marketplace that we will be able to provide. And we were actually talking about this right before the office hours calls, that we're going to roll this out, I think, in a beta feature sooner than later, because not only will it allow people to get started easier and sooner, but you'll be able to actually just templatize everything for every client and then be able to clone those into your account or into a client sub account, or have the client clone them into their account. So, and since it's all business focused or business faced, we'll be able to maybe even we could white label the marketplace too, probably. So that could be kind of crazy. You'd be like, yeah, check out our marketplace. We have this whole thing, and the whole marketplace is white labeled too. So that'd be kind of sick. So that's the consumer side. The API, all the API updates basically just give us more functionality for us to then provide to you, to provide to the end user. So some of those things, the two big ones are vision and audio. So the GPT-4 Vision is part of their new API that allows you to send photos or send screenshots or whatever, and then the AI can know what's in the photo. And so within the last 12 hours, there's been some threads that have gone that are on Twitter. I wish I should have pulled these up beforehand, but people made some demos last night using this new API where they would have a webcam, and the webcam would be taking photos live and then feeding those photos live to the API, where the API would describe what's happening in the photo and then feed that description back to a user in a console. And so the demo that people were posting on Twitter was like some guy waving at the webcam, and then within like, a millisecond, a thing says that a guy is waving at the camera. And another person made a version of this where they uploaded a video of a soccer game, football game, and it was a live play-by-play commentator of what was happening. Like he shoots, he scores, like in near real time to what's happening in the video. So how does this all, apply to us? We're not really sure, other than that we can provide the functionality for you guys to then figure out what use case you want to create, because we're going to continue to I'm so thankful that we focused on the platform and not the AI bots, because now we can essentially just add all this functionality to the existing platform that allows you to white label this functionality and monetize this functionality without having to figure out how to code it. And I think that's where we're going to start to see ourselves be positioned as white label AI API in every level. Like, how as an agency do you interface with some of these features without having to spend tens of thousands of dollars to develop these natively? You can just integrate them, just like normal. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Ross.
How you doing?
I'm excellent. I'm really excited about what's going on.
Yeah. We were just talking about some of the OpenAI updates from yesterday.
Yeah. Hey, it's funny. I was just talking about those on my coaching call 45 minutes ago. Graham was there. Graham was there with me. I'm really excited. I think it's gonna create incredible opportunity for companies that are willing to cut through the clutter, because all ChatGPT is going to do is just make it so much more available for people to go in and kind of play around and get a half a result. But for a real business that needs real leads and real results, they're not going to be able to do that on their own. They need they either need a human that's really good at setting it all up and choosing the best company chatbot to use, or they need a company like yours that just go in there and do it right for them.
Exactly.
So I think it's actually really, really good for us.
I agree. Yeah. It gives us more functionality, and where we're going to continue to focus is continue to build the strength of the platform. So native integrations is going to be a huge focus for us moving forward. No long, like we're going to try to make it, or we for sure will make it, where you don't need GHL, you don't need Zapier, you don't need any other CRM to implement these AI solutions behind any of these channels. It's all going to be native. It's all going to be integrated into one place, making it so much easier for everybody. And that just extends the functionality with all this, like all the new stuff that they just released in the API. So the other one is voice. So they released text to speech and whisper, which basically allows us to take text and convert it to audio, and then vice versa, audio back to text. So what this will allow initially is, instead of us having to do the integration with 11 Labs or ask you guys to enter your 11 Labs API, we're just going to make it native. Everything's going to be native. It'll all be done just natively in the platform. And then it will be a option that you can select for each chatbot. Do you want this to respond with the voice, or do you want to be able to have someone send it voice and then be able to interact with it in that way? That functionality extends to every other application that can accept and send voice. So Twilio will be probably the first application that we take this integration with, to where we can sit this behind phone calls. So that text to audio system theoretically will have low enough latency to provide a AI phone call service.
Mm.
So that'll be really cool. We did test this out in limited functionality with other services, and at the time, like 11 Labs, for example, 11 Labs, the latency is too high. Like, it takes too long for us to send that text to 11 Labs, to then it translate, to then get back, to then download it as an audio, to then send as an audio. But from what we're seeing with these initial examples that people, and I was just saying, there was an example posted on Twitter, Sean, last night, of somebody with, like, within 6 hours, somebody programmed the ability to have a webcam say back in real time what is happening in the video. So, like, someone was waving at the camera, and then the chatbot's like, "Oh, you're waving at the camera." And where I think this go, like, we're just going to see these use cases start to extend further, to where instead of having to build these, we can just use a platform to make them with no code solutions. So
yeah. And I think the key to differentiation, if I can speak, I think the key to differentiation is making it so simple that somebody can just go in there and just plug and play. I was talking on my call. Graham can vouch for this. I actually pulled up a list of 5 of your competitors and plus you. And I said, why did I choose Stammer at the beginning? I said, they're not as far along as a couple of the other companies. Like they were earlier stage. I said, here's why. Because in like 30 seconds, I could build that first chatbot. I think about, I'm not going to mention the name because you're recording and you're probably posting this. I think about one of the companies that I overpay. I really believe I overpay an order form company to do order forms. And every time I overpay them, I think, it's about time for me to switch order form companies. And then I think, okay, cool. I'll go use this other order form company that's just a little bit better, and I like them a little bit better. Oh, but it's going to take me 15 minutes to make my order form, but my current order form, I make it in 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I pay them more for convenience. I don't want to say I pay you more, but I promote you like you're my number one. Why? Because the service is just so easy and convenient. I can tell somebody else, look, go use it. It's super, super convenient. And so I say all this, I mean to hijack your call, Ross, but I say this all to say that when I look at the market, there's going to be like a billion different plugins. There's just going to be so many things. It's just going to be everything that AI can do is just going to become a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the money? It's going to be the clarity through that commodity. It's going to be the ease. It's going to be, I can come to Stammer and in a few clicks, I can get exactly what I need. It works for me. It works for my company. It gets me the leads. It gets me leads. Mm-hmm. It's not all the other things. It just gets me whatever I need. So over to you.
Love that. Yeah. And I think part of that will be, and I think when you say that, like, I want to create a bot that does this, that knows this, that acts like this, that collects leads, that books meetings. The missing piece in my mind when you say that is, where is it? Where is it? And right now we only offer the website chatbot. So I think that's why I mentioned earlier, like, our focus on the native integrations is going to be so key to match that flow where, oh, I just want to put it on Facebook. I want to put it on Instagram. I want to put it on WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Discord, Slack, whatever it may be.